This morning, 3 days after being rescued from Somali pirates by U.S. Navy SEALs, American aid worker Jessica Buchanan and her Danish colleague are at a U.S. base on the Italy island of Sicily. They are being debriefed by military and intelligence officials who want to learn as much as possible about their captivity and pirates who held them hostage. Correspondent Alan Pizzey is at Signorella, Italy. Alan, good morning.
Good morning, John.
We know Jessica was ill and that was a factor in speeding up her rescue. How do we think she's doing now, and what do we know about that?
Actually, John, we know absolutely nothing because the family has asked for privacy, and the U.S. military says that they respect that, and the only statement they'll give is that they are now, both hostages, former hostages, are now in phase 2 of a 3-stage reintegration process. That's where they have thorough medical checks, get whatever treatment they need, and they have a lot of debriefing, both from psychiatrists and psychologists as well as intelligence officials. That process is described as being dynamic. It goes on for as long as it takes. Now, they say it's usually a minimum of 72 hours, but the process goes on, and they stay here at the base doing that process until both the former hostages and those people that are dealing with them and helping them decide that it's okay to move to stage 3, which is going home to wherever they choose to go. Jessica may go to Ohio. She could go back to Nairobi, where she lives. That's up to them, and their privacy is being respected, and no statements whatsoever are being issued, John.
Well, that's about normal. You know, the experts say in these things that the hostage has lost 2 things. One is predictability while in captivity, because you never know what's going to happen next, and control, which means you are not making decisions. And they try to give that back in this process. I'm wondering if you have any insight, though, into how traumatic, aside from being held, the rescue itself was for her.
No statements have been issued. You can assume, I think, that it would have been traumatic because one minute you imagine you're sitting there in darkness with people that are chewing a narcotic drug and carrying guns and who don't particularly like you and just want whatever they can get from you, and suddenly out of the darkness come pretty scary looking guys, I should think, but friendly guys. So there's this sudden, you're gone from sitting on the ground or wherever you're sitting to being whisked away into the arms of friendly people, but it has to be pretty terrifying, I would imagine, John.
I would imagine. Now, what do we know about the other hostages, and particularly one other American who are still being held?
Well, a spokesman for the pirates, or somebody who says he's a spokesman for pirates, says that hostage, the American journalist, was moved 3 times in the 24 hours following the rescue of Jessica Buchanan and her colleague. The hostage takers say that they're going to keep them. They're not going to negotiate. They want money. That's what they've got them for, and that's what they want them for. The probability now is that the hostages that are on land will be moved onto ships. There are a lot of ships being held. 155 sailors of various nationalities are trapped on those ships waiting for ransom. If they move the hostages, including the American journalist, onto ships, it makes it much, much more difficult for them to be rescued.
A very dynamic situation. Thanks, Alan Pizzey in Signorella, Italy.